It only took 1 year for a team to be worse than last year's Detroit Pistons team. If you were paying attention last year, you knew how bad Detroit was. I mean, it was so bad, you had some people saying, don't be that team, which is going to be very ironic when we get into this video. I mean, it was so bad. They have the record for the most losses in a single season with 28. They participated in no-win November and a little bit of December. But do you also want to know who participated in no-win November this year? The Washington Wizards. In fact, this team was on a 16-game losing streak, and had it not been for one game, their streak would be at 20 right now. Now, what is this one game I'm talking about? Well, they played the Denver Nuggets, who, by the way, were missing 5 different people. 2 of them are prominent starters. Well, I don't know if I can really call Jamal Murray a prominent starter these days, but still. Also, need I remind you, it took Nikola Jokic dropping 56 for Denver to be within 9. Trust me, before the year ends, I will make a Denver video. But hey, they got a win. Maybe they can capitalize off that. Well, so far they've lost 3 straight, and I don't know when they're going to get a win again, because I think it was obvious to a lot of people this team was going to be bad. If we look at the roster, it was not meant to do anything. Obviously, they were never going to contend. Obviously, they were never going to be good enough to even make the playoffs or the play-in. They were going to be at the bottom of the East, hell, the entire NBA. We all knew that. But when I think of a bad team, I think of a 20-win team. I mean, that's bad. Trust me, that's terrible. But where the Wizards are right now, they're on pace to win about 10 to 12 games. But if I'm being real, I don't think anyone should really be surprised. I mean, I'm definitely not. I called it 2 months ago. I'm telling you, this Washington team might actually be a lot worse than what Detroit was last year. There is a legitimate chance that Washington wins like 10 games this year. I'm not kidding. Now you might be saying, Spex, how could you predict this so well? Well, let's look at this team. The 2 stars of the team are Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. Sure, there's other guys on their team with potential and that I think are solid, but these are the 2 main 1A and 1B players on the team, which if those are your 2 top guys, then that is not a good basketball team. Having your second option average 15 points per game while your first option is averaging 20, that's just not good. Now, let me be very clear for a sec. About a month ago, I believe it was, I made a video about Jordan Poole, and I'm gonna stand on business. I still think Jordan Poole has improved from last year. I still think he's a great player, which is why I am vying for him to go to a completely different team. I said it in that video, but I do think he can actually perform well for a contending team. Obviously, he's not going to be their number 1 option, but he'd be a great number 3 or number 4. Or even if he has to come off the bench, he can play that role pretty well. His situation in Golden State, it damaged this man, and we all knew that. However, in Washington, it's not damaging him as far as mental health, if that makes sense, but it's damaging him as he's becoming irrelevant. Let's face it, no one cares about Jordan Poole these days. We might talk about him here and there if he has like a crazy 40-50 point performance, but the fact of the matter is, compared to what he was doing in Golden State, it just doesn't matter as much. Sure, he's kind of progressing as a player, he's getting older, he's getting a little bit more mature, but on Washington, it's never going to lead to anything. And unfortunately for him, he's only on the 2nd year of that 4-year contract he got while he was in Golden State. So unless he requests for a trade or Washington just wants to get him out of there, then he's not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, he's not the only guy that's on the 2nd year of their 4-year contract. Kyle Kuzma is in the same situation, but unlike Jordan Poole, I don't have the best things to say about him. Kyle Kuzma at best is a rotation guy. He is not supposed to be your 2nd best scorer. Now, I can't really break down what he's done this year so far because he's missed a lot of time due to injury. In early November, he was out for like 5 games because of a groin injury, and then he would eventually come back, but then 3 weeks later, he was out again with a rib injury. This has sidelined him for the past 3 weeks, and I don't know when he's going to return. But I can confidently say the Wizards being as bad as they are is not because Kyle Kuzma is out. I don't really want to harp on him too much because there is someone that I really want to talk about that's actually been pissing me off, but let me just say that I'm kind of on the same boat where I want him to get traded. I want him to go to another team, but unlike Jordan Poole, he doesn't have that much trade value. I don't know if he would actually do well for a contending team. I mean, if he was to join a contending team today, I'd have him at the bottom of the rotation. Like, let me think of a random team that's contending, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I doubt it's possible because of his contract, but let's just say he was making a decent salary. He would be maybe the 8th best player on that team. Now, some of you might find that disrespectful, but considering what OKC has and how valuable some of the rotation guys are, I'm gonna stand on that. And if we go to other teams like Boston, I promise you it's the exact same thing. I'm not sick anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to hit 25K by the end of the year, and we are officially about 430 away from hitting that goal. If you guys enjoy raw, unfiltered NBA content, we upload about 3 times a week on this channel, and I genuinely think you're going to enjoy it. If you don't end up enjoying the content, you can unsubscribe at any time. It is totally free to try it out. But like I said, I do think you're going to enjoy the content, especially moving forward. All right, with that being said though, let's get right back to the video. Now, do you guys remember the #1 storyline heading into the 2024 NBA draft that wasn't about Bronny James? It was about Alexander Sarr. See, if you guys remember, the Atlanta Hawks had the #1 pick in that draft, and everyone thought that Alexander Sarr was going to go #1. It was the talk for months on end. But then Sarr would decline his workout with the Hawks, and from there, a lot of people had questions about the situation. Now, a lot of people speculated on why this was the case, but I think a lot of people just assumed that Sarr did not want to go to Atlanta because they were really bad. Now, let me just say that Atlanta was very bad last year, but that team did not deserve the #1 pick. I was just as surprised as everyone else when I saw they had won that pick. Now, as you guys know, the Wizards were picking #2. They took Sarr. Everything's great. Except in the summer league, he was garbage. Like, this man was historically garbage in the preseason. Oh, but Spex, what about the regular season? Because we all know the summer league doesn't mean everything. Well, at the time of recording this video, he's averaging 11 points per game on 39% shooting from the field, almost 27% from 3. Yes, I rounded up for him, and shooting 66% from the charity stripe. Oh, and just for shits and giggles, this man has a plus minus of -11.5. But guys, I know offense is not the entire story. I mean, in fact, defense was one of the things that Alexander Sarr was praised for, but so far he has not been good on that front. He currently has a defensive rating of 116. Now you might be asking, Spex, what's a good defensive rating? Well, a guy like Alex Caruso currently has a defensive rating of 96, but usually the best defensive ratings are like in the low 100s, so 100, 101, 102, etc. Now, the worst in the NBA is Emmanuel Quickly with the 124.3 defensive rating. So if you do the math and look at it from a general standpoint, we can see Alexander Sarr and where he stands. I don't want to talk too bad about him because he is a rookie and understand he's going to struggle, but this is the same guy that didn't want to go to Atlanta, yet he wanted to go to Washington. Like, Washington was a better situation. If he was excited about the prospect of being one of the top guys there, well, he obviously isn't that right now. But guys, basketball is a team sport. It doesn't just take 3 terrible people to be a really bad team. It takes everybody. Now, I mean this in the nicest way possible, but besides Jordan Poole, Coulibaly, and maybe Carrington, there is nobody else on this team that has a bright future. I don't even know where Washington goes from here because sure, they're gonna get a top pick in this year's draft, but what the are you gonna do, get Cooper Flagg? As great as Cooper Flagg is, he is not going to turn around your franchise on day 1. Also, it's not even 100% guaranteed they're gonna get Cooper Flagg. The NBA draft lottery over the past couple years has been so damn unpredictable, they could get the #5 pick for all I know. So yeah, I'm sorry, but this Washington team has no future, and at this point, I think they should consider expansion. You know, I hear Las Vegas might need a team.